Afghan forces insufficient, says U.S. Commander General Stanley A. McChrystal, the newly arrived top commander in Afghanistan, has concluded that the Afghan security forces will have to be much larger than currently planned if President Barack Obama's strategy for winning the war is to succeed, according to senior military officials. And such an expansion would require spending billions and billions more dollars than the $7.5 billion the administration has already budgeted annually to build up the Afghan army and police over the next several years. And then, what about the corruption? It would also take the likely deployment of thousands and thousands more U.S. troops as trainers and advisors. So then, how much longer will this conflict or war go on? How much is it going to cost? When will it be won? When will they know that they have won, if there's anything to even win? Obama has voiced strong commitment to the ongoing Afghan conflict, which this year surpasses the Vietnam War as America's longest combat engagement. That's crazy. But he has been cautious about making any additional military resources available beyond the 17,000 combat troops and 4,000 military trainers he agreed to in February. That will bring the total U.S. force to 68,000 by fall. Instead, Obama has emphasized the need to pay equal attention to other aspects of the U.S. effort, including strengthening Afghanistan's economy and governance, at least theoretically. People have to understand that Afghanistan is very different from the United States, and there is a lot of corruption in Afghanistan. Announcement of any additional military resources this year would raise serious questions from Congress and the American people about whether his overall strategy is even working as intended. McChrystal has not yet completed a 60-day assessment of the war due out next month, but Defense Department officials here and in Kabul, the Afghan capital, said that he has informed Defense Secretary Robert M. Gates in weekly updates of the need to increase the Afghan force substantially. The Afghan army is already scheduled to grow from 85,000 to 134,000. Who's paying for them? The United States? And again, how many more billions and billions of dollars is it going to take when this country is in a recession or a depression, whatever have you call it? Could it possibly be that all these wars or conflicts are hurting our own economy? It's very possible, isn't it? So, if the Afghan army is scheduled to grow from 85,000 to 134,000, expansion originally expected to take 5 years, but now fast-tracked for completion by 2011. Will that even be enough? No, likely or probably not. And several senior Pentagon officials have indicated that an adequate size for the Afghan force could be at least twice the expanded number. There are not enough Afghan National Army and Afghan National Police for our forces to partner with in operations, and that gap will exist in the coming years, even with the planned growth already budgeted for, said a U.S. military official in Afghanistan. Without significant increases above and beyond what's already planned, said another U.S. official involved in training Afghan forces, we will lose the war. Again, the U.S. official involved in training Afghan forces said, we will lose the war. So then, what good is it to even stay there any longer then? Wouldn't it be better to leave Afghanistan now, before it gets worse, or before the United States has spent tons of more money? It's like throwing money into a black hole in some kind of way. U.S. commanders in southern Afghanistan told the National Security Advisor, James L. Jones, late last month that additional Afghan forces are needed. But Jones made clear to them that Barack Obama wants to give the non-military elements of his strategy the time and resources to progress before considering new troop requests. Jones and others agree that both reconstruction and better governance cannot be achieved until the Afghan people are secure, however long that might take. Well, it might not happen at all. The strategy calls for U.S. and Afghan forces to theoretically or supposedly clear areas of the Taliban and then somehow hold them. Commanders leading a Marine operation launched last week to drive the Taliban forces from Helmand province in southern Afghanistan are already asking, where are the Afghan troops? Where is the economic plan? Where is the government? In other words, what are they doing there? Concerns about a larger U.S. presence. Approximately 4,000 Marines are involved in the current offensive, along with only 650 Afghan soldiers. Despite concerns that too large a U.S. military force or presence would undermine efforts to eventually put the Afghans in charge of their own security, Jones said McChrystal is perfectly within his mandate as a new commander to make the recommendation on the military posture as he sees it. We have to wait until he does that. There was never any intention on my visit to Afghanistan to stay or to say, don't ever come in with a request or to put a cap on troops. In other words, they're talking about unlimited amounts of money. That's how much it's going to cost. Or they need unlimited numbers of troops. Well, that's not even realistic or practical in the real world. There are limits on everything. So where will the money come from? The exact size of any request for additional money and troops will depend on how quickly U.S. commanders and Afghan government officials determine that they can expand the Afghan forces and how much of the financial and personal burden U.S. allies are willing to shoulder. It would not surprise me if the ceiling for the Afghan army request was raised, but where the new ceiling might be and where all the money comes from, there's an international responsibility here too. There are 47 countries working in Afghanistan. He said, if there are additional expenses, does it mean all of it has to come from the United States? How much more money will they throw into the black hole called Afghanistan? And once again, there's something bigger going on here. Everything is connected, and these are more signs of the end times, transition days, and there are many signs.